Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I saw that in the camera, but not in my eyesight. Spirit must be with me. Fun times. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind-blown moment, a new book to read, new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you to all the new subscribers. Hi. Hermit's journey. I haven't touched on this in some time. Very propelled to jump into this. The channelings and the things that I've been seeing in amongst society is the lack of self-love. Now, when I've read, we're touching on this today, and Manly P. Hole's work, none of the characters exuded, they had some anxiety and some fear depending on the story, and they had a little self-doubt, but those stories are kind of trying to get you to understand that, like, you have to take the leap, the fool's card. Hang on. This is not my Rider-Waite deck. This is my Lightseers deck. I love this deck. That's one. But as I'm looking for what I'm looking for, we don't see, per se, the characters coming out in a negative stance about themselves. They doubt themselves, but they persevere and push through. They're taking the big leap of faith. And I feel that in the conversations I've been having with multiple people in the last few days, what I'm seeing is everybody's focused on everybody else but themselves. And I know when you have a family, I don't, so it's easy for me every day to go in. But the hesitation to go and do your personal work and say, love you in the mirror, I love you in the mirror. It takes 2 seconds to do that. Saying, I am worthy, I am going to have a great day today. You might feel like utter shit. You know, your body hurts, your transitional season shit. It's raining, there's flooding, there's all kinds of crap going on and around the world. But at the same time, you still need to love yourself at the end of the day, and you still need to give yourself grace. And when I read those stories, found it. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that we might need. When we're looking at the stories of these hermits and coming into society and speaking on that as a whole of humanity, we're rebirthing, we're going through another part of the universe where the photonic rays of the green ray is hitting us, and we're waking up whether we like it or not. Even if you're not fully awake or aware in everything, you don't need to be. We all have our unique mission, purpose. And a lot of people get stuck on that. I don't know what my purpose is. And that is just, you wake up every day, be thankful that you're alive, have gratitude, have the attitude of gratitude, and just be. Some people are just meant to hold the frequency and hold the light. And that's a very important job that you think it's not, but it totally is. You're holding space for other people. That takes a lot of energy. And it's a lot of responsibility because you have to make sure you're balanced. So as I'm trying to find the last one, we need to realize not to bog ourselves down with doubt. All the stories trying to find the light of God, trying to go to the tops of the mountains. You go through trials and tribulations in each of those stories. People think people are crazy because they're modeling, making little statues, and they're coming alive and becoming gods and performing miracles and leaving the village and going to find a hermit that gives them the wisdom of like the animal life, right? Whatever the story may be, here it is. Whatever the story may be, what's your story? How are you traversing this world? Whether it be by yourself or with a group of people, it doesn't necessarily matter. What are you doing? This is the most important thing. I talked to somebody yesterday and I talked to my friend today. And again, they're now entering, my friend today was on the phone with me. She's entering now the space of accepting her life, accepting her circumstances, accepting her role. And she's like, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm like, you don't need to know. You're where God wants you to be, the infinite creator, not the evil thing. We want to know why certain things happen to us. We want to know why. And you are the only one that can answer that question. You have to ask those deep questions. Once you have gone through a hell of a lot of things that most people don't normally see in early on, like for myself, I've went through a lot of things that most people don't see until their late 50s, early 60s. Most people don't bury their parents young. I had to. Most people don't lose all their friends when they're in their early 20s and teens. I have. I've traversed a disease. I still am. I have teeth problems. I'm still going through that, but I don't let that hold me back. I'm still going to forge forward with my life. I'm still going to walk out of that cave, the Plato's allegorical cave, and I'm going to spread the truth that I know for my own self. It might not be your truth, but that's the path you need to carve for yourself. And that's the journey I've been trying to get you and everybody else on. Is learning through these stories to get past your doubt. Take the big leap of faith. If I didn't take the big leap of faith last year and just moved without knowing where I was going, I just picked a hotel and I drove there. I had no idea if I was what house, what area, what anything. I took the leap of faith because that was what the universe wanted me. That was the test. Everybody's tested differently. Everybody wrote their contracts differently with Source. You put very difficult things in your life if you have higher purposes because you need to go through hell. And that's only to help others when they can't help themselves. So in this deck, this is the Hermit. She's on that cliff. In a lot of my journals as a child, I used to talk about this metaphorical cliff and how I would be always on the tip of the cliff looking out. It's crazy how this card depicts what I've always written, had no idea a card was even made like this. The Hermit. That's most of us. Very introverted, but extroverted. Depends on the circumstances and the energy around. You're in society or not in society. Most of us don't like society, so we stay in our hermit. But then you get a tower moment, a catalyst God puts in your way, one that you wrote, and it materializes in this realm of existence and this consciousness. But if you look at this particular tower, because other towers are really not nice to look at, you see animal life, you see metamorphosis, you're seeing butterflies, you're seeing a transformation. The tower is not a bad card. It's just something that comes in to make a change happen. So most people who sit in this energy often have a catalyst or a tower moment, something that breaks apart in their lives, which causes another effect. The Fool. Taking the leap of faith. Knowing that the universe has your back. Knowing that you're giving yourself up to the universe, source, your angels, your guides, whatever it is. And sometimes in our mind, if we don't do the mental gymnastics to transmute energy, as we take that leap of faith, or right before we take that leap, we become in the hangman position. We get stalemated, we get stuck because we're not seeing the momentum moving forward as fast as we would like. And then we put our head in our brains in this card. I'm just hanging here. I'm not going nowhere. Right? And what I've learned throughout my entire existence, because again, in other videos, I said, I don't get what I manifest, where I think about it and it's over there and I just have to move to get it. I have to think about it, sit with it, put the action into motion, and then go through obstacles in order to get to my destination. It's just not one A to B. It's not. I chose that, and I want to kick myself really hard at times for doing that. Because where everybody else is comfortable or just surviving, I'm in that space again where I'm panicked because things are not transpiring as fast. But I have to put my faith in the universe that all the hard work that I am doing will eventually pay off, that I will eventually get a job. I can't stop doubting myself, which I'm not. But there are other people who have that mindset. Just because you don't get something, that door wasn't meant to open for you. And once you get out of that hangman and you take the leap, you have the death card. Death and rebirth, a death of the old cycle, the old you. Bye-bye, old self. I'm transforming. I'm becoming the butterfly that survived that tower crash, and I'm going to fly high to a new rebirth. Hermit's journey is nothing but going through these stages of life, learning from them, and imparting your knowledge onto other people. The problem with this sneaky situation is we're in a time where people have been brainwashed to not have open minds and have critical thinking. We have people who are very much asleep, very into themselves and into their own lives. They're not looking at a bigger picture. They're only looking at their little box, and they're only looking inside of it. They're not looking at the greater humanity. They're not looking at the whole. And there's a lot of people like that. And I know plenty of them. And I have to be patient for when it is their time to awaken, if it is their time to awake. And I have to respect that. And all of us have to as well. Everybody chose their story. Everybody. And we have to stop expecting our story to turn into their story, because it's not for them. They wrote their own character, they put it on stage, and it's playing their role as we are playing ours. And we have to be respectful and understanding that they're of God as well. And if they're not meant to wake up, we got to let it go and respect their choice and still give them love because they deserve it. Again, I keep saying, I keep getting the fishy, the Pisces fishy, with what would Jesus do? I don't like Yeshua, Melchizedek. But what would he do? Did he judge anybody? He didn't care what religion, what faith, what color you were. He helped you if you are worthy of it, and if it was his calling to help you back in that time. He gave his teachings to everybody. It didn't matter. Those who showed up were the ones who listened, who gained the knowledge. Those that didn't show up were his opposition and didn't quite understand what he was saying. They didn't get the big picture. And we're in that same position right now. Many of us have this big picture. We don't have the complete picture, but we have enough pieces to that picture where we're looking at society. Doesn't matter if it's spiritual, political, whatever have you. We see a bigger picture. We see things playing out for what it is, not for the illusion that most people see it as. The hardest part is letting go of the idea that you have to wake people up. They're going to come to you in natural time. If they don't, it's not their time. And you got to respect that. I get too many people frustrated. And then I get a lot of people who are frustrated with themselves because they want to have the knowledge, but they're not willing to put the work into understanding it. You know, there's a cute meme of a Japanese child in school. And I'm going to take my Carlos Castaneda, The Art of Dreaming book for an example. So the kid's at his study desk and everybody's just like reading. And he's just like, I'm drinking all. And he turns the page and he's taking all the words and putting it into his brain. It was the cutest thing in the world. You know, I wish a lot of us could, I wish I could do that. I don't have to read it. Just, and it's in me. Wouldn't that be nice? But that's just not feasible right now in this paradigm. Maybe later in life, we don't know. But before I went into the reading, I wanted to get some of those things out because I know a few people are probably dealing with this. If you've been watching the Hermit's journey from its first video, you got to do the work on yourself. Stop doubting your abilities. Everybody has them. If you don't acknowledge them, you're not going to know that you have them. If you're not receptive to signs that the universe is showing you, you're not getting it. Go do some research and some work. I have a whole bookshelf behind me on mediumship. Different authors, different techniques. Nothing of those books really helped me gain my ability to talk to my parents. But what it did impart was beautiful protection meditations, beautiful ways, beautiful stories that just melt your heart, especially people that needed that healing. Mediumship is a healing. That's a different form of healing, but knowing when you don't have closure on somebody's passing, a medium who's authentic, who's going to tell it to you straight, with sincerity, obviously, they will give you the biggest healing. I know I was healed, even though I knew my father was around. I didn't know how he was coming to me. I didn't see the signs because I wasn't open-minded like I was now back then. Once the medium's like, he's always with you. Don't you feel him touching your head? He tucks you in at night. Are you kidding me? You don't see it? You don't feel it? What? Right? And then I asked my father to meet my vibration, because maybe I'm not vibrating high enough, or he's not vibrating to where I can feel him. So I said, can you adjust your vibration so I can actually physically feel you? And when he did, I get this sensation as the last thing I did before he died. And when he comes in, which I feel like he is here now, I want to start crying. Stop that. But like, that's what he does. He makes me hysterically cry. That was the last moment I had with my father that night before he died. I was in ICU and he was on a respirator, sleeping in a coma, induced coma. And he woke up, held our hands, my mother and me, myself, and he cried. And I had to tell him, it's okay. I got mom. Don't worry. You go home. Please go home. I don't want to see you like this anymore. And the next day we got the phone call that he's passed. And it was beautiful. But I didn't know he was coming to me. Right? So like we all have those stages of like, we don't know. Once you put the work in, and once you read some books or read some articles, blogs, there's plenty of videos out there. You know, you don't have to resonate with everything that you hear or see, but there are, like, again, I take nuggets out of books. I make connections. That's what I like to do. But if you're looking for that, and please go and do the research, read some books. They're really great books. Seriously, like this whole shelf right there is all medium books. Medium channeling, medium psychic practice, using your intuition, all that, the whole row. And even it falls into the bottom row. A lot of that is tarot and astrology and other stuff. It's important. And no one's saying that you're a medium, right? Like, some people are afraid of that. Don't be afraid. But you can get something out of the books that you read. Look at stories, whatever it is. Once you see the signs, once you see things, you'll be able to heal. And then you'll be able to take your experiences and help other people. That is the whole hermit's journey that Zarathustra is like speaking about. He goes off into the mountain. He's always going somewhere by himself. And then he comes back into society and he goes, fuck no. I don't want to deal with you ignorant people. And we're at this stage, we've been at this stage for a while now. We don't know what to say or how to say it. And if we do, take other people's like, here's how you should like red pill somebody, right? That might not work with everybody. You got to feel the energy, you got to feel the room, but here's the deal. This is something that has come up in 4 conversations before I start the book. Not everybody's meant to wake up. You still have to live life. You are still needing to live your life. Try to obtain the emotional state of happiness. And even if that day it's contentment, work on yourself every day. You can go and take a chalk marker, or they have these vinyl, like you put in the window for Halloween or for Christmas, and they're inspirational. I love you. You are worthy. You're worth it. Whatever it is, there's inspirational quotes. I mean, people have all over their kitchen, live, laugh, love. But you're seeing it on the kitchen wall, which is great. But what can you see in the mirror? What could you put on your mirror when you look at yourself in the morning brushing your teeth? You ain't looking that pretty, right? Right. And if you're blessed to be a 10, great. But look in the mirror and say, I love you. And if you can't do that, or you forget, you have a bad memory, it's there for you to see it. And you're looking at it and it's hitting you. And if you're not cognizant of it, it's hitting your subconscious. You got to focus on yourself. You got to do the work. And it doesn't need to be hard. No one said it needs to be, when I go on, I'm going to heal myself when I go on vacation. That's not how that works. It's an everyday practice. Like I mentioned my friend today, she's like, the card you got me for Christmas a few years ago, like I'm now starting to pull a card and really understanding what the card means to me, applying the message of the mantra, and then making sure that at least I take a picture. And then during the day, when I start feeling a certain way, I'll look at it and remind myself of whatever the mantra I pulled for that day. I'm like, this is beautiful. You are now blossoming. And it took 6-7 years. What? It's happening. And it makes me so happy. Because at the time, everybody thought I was batshit crazy for telling them how to help themselves. I don't have the perfect life, but I've been through enough to help other people with certain experiences. I'm confident in myself. I know I'm worthy. Right? Circumstances suck sometimes. And again, if you put yourself in, this happens to everybody in life. Sometimes the universe puts you at a standstill for a reason. And that might be a very huge challenge in the material world, but there's reasons for it. Like right now, I have to realize that the job that I want isn't coming to me until later on, whether it be the spring, next year, whenever. But I got to make do with what I have, and what I have is my art. So I'm going to put myself out there. Again, giant leap of faith, right? But I'm putting action into motion. People that are influencers, I don't like that word anymore. People who are talking the truth and giving their perception of it, showing you documents and stuff. They're using their expertise and what they know, and they're trying to help people snap out of the programming. There's spiritual people who are really good, and then there are really people who are scamming you. And that could be said in any degree of anything. But once you know your heart space, it's all that matters. But you got to do the work. You got to heal yourself. And healing takes a lifetime. It's not going to happen in this lifetime. The totality of your healing. There's so much shit suppressed in your subconscious. You're not even aware consciously of half the crap that your brain holds. And as we keep expanding our consciousness, that gunk is going to come up. Healing is a forever thing. You're always having to heal. I have to do a lot of healing myself. We all do. Doesn't matter what age you are. But you've got to start somewhere. And now is a really perfect time to start. Little things each day. We want to get to the point where we're Zarathustra walking into society confident, because we're not doubting ourselves anymore, and having a witty appeal, right? Because people are very challenging. People are going to come at you, but no, that person said this and that, I saw it that way. You know, like Jim Brew is the cockatoos. I'm not making cockatoo noises, but go watch Jim Brewer. He makes you laugh, which is great. But that's the thing. You're going to have that opposition coming at you, and from the people you might love. If it's not their time, just drop it and love them regardless. What would Yeshua Melchizedek do? What would he do? He's still going to live his life. He's going to wake up every day and he's going to be thankful. He's going to thank the prime creator. And he's going to go about his day, regardless of the hate, regardless of the opposition. He's going out there and doing him. He's doing himself, right? We need to do the same. We need to go out for whatever we do and just be and love and show compassion and grace to other people. Finally, right? Allison's not ramping. On human prudence. Not the height, but the precipice is terrible. That precipice where the glance plunges down and the hand reaches up. There, the heart becomes giddy, confronted with its double will. Alas, friends, can you guess what is my heart's double will? This is my precipice and my danger, that my glance plunges into the height, and that my hand would grasp and hold onto the depth. My will clings to man. With fetters I bind myself to men, because I am swept up toward the overman. For that way my other will wants to go. And therefore I live blind among men, as if I did not know them, that my hand might not wholly lose its faith in what is firm. Really pick that apart. It's everything I just said. Detachment. I don't know you men. This dark and consolation are often spread around me. I sit at the gateway exposed to every rogue, and I ask, who wants to deceive me? That is the first instance of my human prudence, that I let myself be deceived in order not to be on guard against deceivers. Alas, if I were on guard against men, how could men then be an anchor for my ball? Now do you understand why I said everything I did in the beginning? This is good. I should be swept up and away too easily. The providence lies over my destiny that I must be without caution. And whoever does not want to die of thirst among men must learn to drink out of all cups. And whoever would stay clean among men must know how to wash even with dirty water. And thus I often confronted myself. When then, old heart, one misfortune failed you, enjoy this as your good fortune. This, however, is the second instance of my human prudence. I spare the vain more than the proud. Is not hurt vanity the mother of all tragedies? But where pride is hurt, there something better than pride is likely to grow. That life may be good to look at, its play must be well acted. But for the good actors are needed. All the vain are good actors. They act and they want people to enjoy looking at them. All their spirit is behind this will. They enact themselves. They invent themselves. Near them, I love to look at life. That cures my melancholy. Therefore, I spare the vain, for they are the physicians of my melancholy, and I keep my attached to life as to a play. There's so much I can say here, but I want you to soak in the journey, the things that I say, encase it in what this genius is saying. We're living this now. This is the battle of the will. This is the battle of detachment. Actors on a stage. You should look up IMDb. A lot of actors are good actors. And a lot of those actors are in Congress and the political stage, believe it or not. And then who could fathom the full depth of the modesty of the vain man? I am well disposed to him, and I pity his modesty. It is from you that he wants to acquire his faith in himself. He nourishes himself on your glances. He eats your praise out of your hands. He even believes your lies if you lie well about him. For at bottom his heart sighs, what am I? And if the true virtue is the one that is unaware of itself, well, the vain man is unaware of his modesty. This, however, is the third instance of my human prudence, that I do not permit the sight of the evil to be spoiled for me by your timidity. I am delighted to see the wonders hatched by a hot sun, tigers and palms and rattlesnakes. Among men, too, a hot sun hatches a beautiful breed. And there are many wonderful things to those who are evil. To be sure, even as your wisest men did not strike me as so very wise, I find men's evil too smaller than its reputation. And often I ask, shaking my head, why go on rattling, you rattlesnakes? Verily, there is yet a future for evil too, and the hottest south has not yet been discovered for men. How many things are now called grossest wickedness, and are yet only 12 shoes wide and 3 months long? One day, however, bigger dragons will come into this world. They're here. For in order that the overman, your oversoul, should not lack his dragon, the overdragon that is worthy of him, much hot sunshine must yet glow upon damp jungles. Your wildcats must first turn into tigers, and your poisonous toads into crocodiles. For the good hunter shall have good hunting. This is duality. You have to embrace your evil. You have to seek out your evil side, whatever that may be. To be human is to be dualistic. To understand God is to see him knowing good and evil. The supreme creator birthed this existence in duality. His component of this universe is duality, good and evil, positive and negative. It's up to you what you see as negative and what you see as positive. But even the negative can be looked at in a positive viewpoint and not tarnished. And yes, there are 2 different types of dragons, and there's lots of dragons. And if you look at Asian culture, there are a lot of dragons, and they're not bad. They're of the light. They're benevolent. I have dragon guides, and they're really fun, and they're really cool looking. But that's not to say that there's other breeds of dragons, or what they call dragon moth, that are of the other polarity. Once you accept evil, the understanding of it, you then know how to work with it. Not in terms of doing anything negative, but you know where they're coming from. Then you know how to put up your defense. You know how to battle them. If you don't know of it and you refuse to look at it, it's going to grow inside of you because you're not dealing with the shadow aspect of yourself. You're not acknowledging the evil part of you. We all have it. Embrace it. Work with it. Not to do bad, but to do good. Understanding human nature. Once you understand a psychopath state of mind, a narcissist state of mind, a service to self state of mind, you know how to avoid it. You learn how to go around them, how to work with them. They're human too. Not everybody's perfect. And not everybody knows that they're evil. I could say a lot of other terminologies and I won't. Everybody is not going to be your cup of tea. Some people like a lot of honey and sugar and milk in their tea. Some people like it bland. You got to pour your own cup. But in order to get there, you got to balance what ingredients you're putting into something. You have to know how to navigate around people that might not be magnetized towards you, but against you. And sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes that person is a family member. Sometimes that person might have turned in the middle of a marriage. I've seen it. All these things are lessons to take away from, not to be your detriment. Verily, you who are good and just, there is much about you that is laughable, and especially your fear of that which has hereto been called devil. What is great is so alien to your souls that the overman would be awesome to you in his kindness. And you are wise and knowing, you would flee from the burning sun of that wisdom in which the overman joyously bathes his nakedness. You, highest men, whom my eyes have seen, this is my doubt concerning you and my secret laughter. I guess that you would call my overman devil. Alas, I have wearied of this highest and best man. From their height, I long to get up and out and away to the overman. I shuddered, came over me when I saw these best ones naked. Then I grew wings to soar off into far distances and distant futures, into more distant futures, into more southern souths than any artists ever dream of, where gods are ashamed of all clothes. But I want to see you disguised, my neighbors and my fellow men, in well decked out and vain and dignified as the good and the just. And I myself want to sit among you disguised, misjudging you and myself. For that is the final instance of my human prudence. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Again, if you don't know your dark side, I have a bitch. I have a name for her too. I have an alter ego. I call her Lilith. Not because she's demonic. She's not. She's the shadow aspect of Mary. She's the rational bitch. She's logical. When someone is walking on and over my boundaries, I switch in a snap into her. Because why should I let anybody walk all over me and take advantage of me and my kindness? That's where we need to find that middle route. We need to find neutrality. We need to be able to understand both sides. We need to partake in both sides. Because if you're always this, and I am love and light, and I try to exude that as much as possible, but there are instances in human existence that you cannot be nice. You got to be stern. I don't become an evil person, but I can if I needed to protect and save myself. Nothing is black and white. There's 1,000 hues of gray in between both. You need to acknowledge that. A lot of people do not. I'm an angel. I read the Bible. I'm saints. And I'm just, using that as something that most people use. So I don't want anybody getting upset. It's just an example. That's how evil outsmarts the good, by the way. And that's been happening since the dawn of time, since our seating here. Okay. We're too naive. We're too passive. They know how to play the game. They know how to take advantage of the game. They've been manipulating the game. And those who are kind and righteous do the right thing, not realizing that they're playing the game and you're getting bamboozled in the meantime. This is where the tough love, standing in your convictions, standing up for yourself, being self-righteous, and putting that sword down. That's it. That if you have to exude the archangel energy, do it. What do you think they do? They're angels with swords. They defend. They battle. They're of the light, but sometimes justice has to be served. And sometimes you're the one that has to be the deliverer of that justice. Empower yourself. That's a big word for me this week with people that I've been talking to on the phone, in chats, through emails, is empower yourself and step into your power and be logical about it. I'm not afraid to use this. Home defense. Always, always within my reach. I am all love and light. I'm very logical. But there are people that want to do harm to others and want to breach what they shouldn't be breaching. And I'm willing to defend myself. It's life or death. I'm not afraid of death either. But if I'm going down, someone's going down with me. And they're going to have to answer upstairs. Be the warrior. Understand that side of yourself that you don't like to reach, because it does come up, and it will come out. Once you understand how to tame that side of yourself, how to know when to release the beast and when to have it in its cage, you'll be the better wise for it, because you're going to use it and outwit evil. But as long as you're passive and you keep giving your energy away and you're not setting up boundaries and you're not having equal energy exchange, people are going to walk all over you and they take advantage of you. And this is what has happened in this reality. People just passively were lulled to sleep. Not enough people woke up, and they've been trying to wake people up for eons now. And we're finally at the crux of the point where now more people are sitting at that cliff edge, ready to take that leap to save humanity. We're here. And more people are starting to take that leap of faith. They're willing to let go of the old in order to bring in the new. And more people are here. They're on the cliff, but they're like, but I can make a really mix of the butts. But my family, but my children, but my animals, but my house, but my phone, but. All I'm hearing in a very nice, gentle way is an excuse. When you allow people to eat and suck your energy dry, and yeah, circumstances suck, right? There are circumstances out of somebody's control, whether their kid has autism and they're nonverbal, or you have a disability and you rely on other people. That is in a lot of people's lives right now, right? But still, hold the integrity, step in your empowerment, and use your voice. I don't want to be treated that way. You got to stop. And when they start doing it, point it out to them until they stop doing it. You got to be patient. People take time to change. But doing it in a loving way, but holding your convictions and putting up a boundary. It's like, no more of this. You gotta take care of yourselves. You're on your own personal journey. You create a family because your family needed you and the lessons you're there to impart on them. Yes, you love them. You're always going to love them. You're always going to be a part of their lives, whether you're here physically or not. My parents are a part of my life. They're not here physically, but they're upstairs, always watching over me. They can't stop certain things from happening, but they could put energetic influences for things to manifest for me. The date that I was on the other day, my car wouldn't freaking start and the charger was drained. Great. So, I go inside to charge the charger so that I can jump my car. And then fate has it, fate, God, source, threw a guy into the mix and had the balls to come ring my doorbell. I'm not from, again, I know I say I just moved here. I've been here January 1st in this house. I'll be here a year. That's insane because where did the time go? But I'm not used to here. I'm not used to people being nice. I'm used to assholes passing me on the side of the road that don't give a shit. Right here, it's a whole nother story. I'm getting used to that, right? Something that I'm new to. So when someone knocks on your door and you answer and you got the axe on the side ready to freaking chop a head off because you don't know who's at your door. Nice guy wanted to jump my car and I let him and we exchanged numbers and he's a sweetheart. That's universe working. That's my parents. That's spirit. That stuff doesn't happen. Again, the Stargate didn't happen. That just doesn't happen for everybody. I'm one out of a whole plethora of people, a small tiny list that live on a Stargate. How did that happen? How did I find my coordinates in a book? Right? How did this guy get the urge to come to my door to ring it? I'm going to help her. Damsel in distress. She can't start her car. I can help. We want the good things in life, but we have to understand and comprehend the bad. And we got to weigh and come to neutrality to understand it objectively, not looking at both sides. Stop giving your energy away freely. I learned this a long time ago. I used to give so much of my art for free. Just gave a lot of like the creations behind me I would make, just give them away. Do you know how much those things cost to make? Even the small stuff. It's expensive. Epoxy is expensive. The materials I use are extremely expensive. Copper and silver, like the shavings, are very expensive. They serve a humongous purpose in all my pieces. I stopped giving them away for free. If you want something from me, we have to have an energetic exchange, whether it be financial, whether it be, a barter of something of equal value. I barter services. But we got to understand when someone's giving their time, it's worth something. When someone's giving their energy, it's worth something. And the balance that I'm seeing a lot of people lacking right now is having that self-confidence to have those boundaries, to say no. When your cup is depleted, how can you go out in society and speak the truth that you know? You're going to get exhausted because everybody's going to pluck it from you and you're going to have nothing in return. And you're going to come home drained and feeling like gunk because you just absorbed all their negative energy and you didn't have any positive energy exchanged. That's not every situation, but we have so much healing to do. And I speak to a lot more people than I have in my past about this stuff because people are being more honest and genuine. They just are not ready to hear what I have to say because they think I'm going to baby them, which I don't. And I respectfully try to give what especially out of cards, what I get. Can't lie. Spirit does not lie. And I hope to the people who have very, very busy lives, because that's what you wrote for your script. Well, I think it's time to take a conversation with Source and say, well, you see, I'm going to rewrite my script a little bit. Can we work together on that so that I don't remember what we wrote, but you know what, right now, can we write something different? And make an agreement with Source. Write down your needs and wants. I want more time for myself. I want to be able to remember what I need to do each day. I want to make a new practice. I want to be able to pull an affirmation card once a day and answer a question. Whatever it is that you do, start small. Like I said, healing is a lifelong journey. It doesn't end with one thing you healed. You have to heal everything. And you got to release it and let it go and not let it come back. If it resurfaces, that means you have a deeper lesson to learn. And that's how I operate. I surface level heal, go into the midway, and then I hit the deep, dark parts of that lesson to understand it, understand it, comprehend it, and then I'm able to let it go. And that takes time. Right now, I'm in the midway point of healing the year I just had. It's taking time to get my body and algorithm used to being in a new place, not knowing where I'm going half the time, getting acquainted to new ways of life. That takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen within under a year. It happens through time. So I'm in my midway point of healing that experience and learning from it. I've gotten a lot stronger. I don't give I realize this, I don't give myself enough credit for everything I just did. Putting all the furniture together, doing all the adulting that I don't like to do. I did it. Putting myself out there to new people, not worried about what they're going to think of me because I don't give a shit. But I can be anything I want because no one here knows me. It's freedom in that. But this is what I'm seeing right now that's holding up people in their path. They want to get here. They want to get to that attainment. They want to get to that learning. They want to get it. They want it coming in a snap. Nothing really comes in a snap. You'll get your epiphany and aha moments once you do the work. And if that means every day in the shower, you're visualizing the light of the water, carrying all the negative energy out of you and letting it go down the drain, putting your hand on a tree, walking in the grass barefoot. It's still nice out in most parts of the United States. You could do it until winter. You know, getting like soaps, like sage, Palo Santo, frankincense, whatever. It doesn't even need to be spiritual. Get something for yourself when you're cleaning yourself. Put the will and intention into the soap that is going to carry the negative off of you, not just germs. Small little things. That's work. But you got to remember to do it every day. It's not easy when life happens. And life happens to everybody every day. You got to keep up the repetition. It's just like a diet. Diets are not easy. People fail at diets because they make it worse than it is. When you don't think about it and you just put the behavior in and change your mindset about it, it becomes easier. And I only know about the diet thing because I worked with my mother, who was almost 300 pounds, and I got her down at least over 165 pounds later because I trained her brain with different methods and it worked. It's not easy. She had me as a support system. And everybody has that. But we're in that moment in time where you have to start picking up yourself first, worrying about yourself first. When you're on the plane and it's going down, you got to put the mask on before everybody else gets their mask. If they can't do it for themselves, you got to put your mask on first. So step into your empowerment. Step into the light. Step into the darkness. You need to know both. If you can't see both sides and you're only looking at this side and you're not looking at the other side, they're going to come left field you, and they're going to put a monkey wrench in your life. But if you see both sides, you have a better attack strategy, a defense. And then within yourself, know both sides, embrace both sides because you need them. This stillest hour. What happened to me, my friends? You see me distracted, driven away unwillingly, obedient, prepared to go, alas, to go away from you, indeed. Zarathustra must return once more to his solitude. But this time the bear goes back to his cave without joy. What happened to me? Who ordered this? Alas, my angry mistress wants it. She spoke to me. Have I ever yet mentioned her name to you? Yesterday toward evening, there spoke to me my stillest hour. That is the name of my awesome mistress. And thus it happened. For I must tell you everything, lest your hearts harden against me for departing suddenly. Did you know the fright of him who falls asleep? He is frightened down to his very toes because the ground gives under him and the dream begins. This I say to you as a parable. Yesterday, in the stillest hour, the ground gave under me. The dream began. The hand moved. The clock of my life drew a breath. Never had I heard such stillness around me. My heart took fright. Then it spoke to me without voice. You know it, Zarathustra. And I cried with fright at this whispering, and the blood left my face, but I remained silent. Then it spoke to me again without voice. You know it, Zarathustra, but you do not say it. And at last I answered defiantly, yes, I know it, but I do not want to say it. Then it spoke to me again without voice. You do not want to, Zarathustra. Is that really true? Do not hide in your defiance. And I cried and trembled like a child and spoke. Alas, I would like to, but how can I? Let me off from this. It is beyond my strength. Then it spoke to me again without voice. What you matter, Zarathustra. Speak your word and break. And I answered, alas, is it my word? Who am I? I await the worthier one. I am not worthy even of being broken by it. Then it spoke to me again without voice. What do you matter? You are not yet humble enough for me. Humility has the toughest side. And I answered, what has the hide of my humility not borne? I dwell at the foot of my height. How high are my peaks? No one has told me yet, but my valleys I know well. Then it spoke to me again without voice. O Zarathustra, he who has to move mountains also moves valleys and hollows. And I answered, as yet my words have not moved mountains, and what I said did not reach men. Indeed, I have gone to men, but as yet I have not arrived. Then it spoke to me again without voice. What do you know of that? The dew falls on the grass when the night is most silent. And I answered, they mocked me when I found and went my own way. And in truth, my feet were trembling then. And thus they spoke to me. You have forgotten the way. Now you have also forgotten how to walk. Then it spoke to me again without voice. What matters their mockery? You are one who has forgotten how to obey. Now you shall command. Do you not know who is most needed by all? He that commands great things. To do great things is difficult, but to command great things is more difficult. This is what is most unforgivable in you. You have the power and you do not want to rule. And I answered, I lack the lion's voice for commanding. Then it spoke to me again as a whisper. It is the stillest words that bring on the storm. Thoughts that come on doves' feet guide the world. O Zarathustra, shall go as a shadow of that which must come. Thus you will command, and commanding lead the way. And I answered, I am ashamed. Then it spoke to me again without voice. You must yet become as a child and without shame. The pride of youth is still upon you. You have become young late. But whoever would become as a child must overcome his youth too. And I reflected for a long time and trembled. But at last I saw what I had said at first. I do not want to. Then laughter surrounded me. Alas, how this laughter tore my entrails and slit open my heart. And it spoke to me for the last time. O Zarathustra, your fruit is ripe, but you are not ripe for your fruit. Thus you must return to your solitude again, for you must yet become mellow. And again it laughed and fled. Then it became still around me, as with a double stillness. But I lay on the ground and sweat poured from my limbs. Now you have heard all, and why I must return to my solitude. Nothing have I kept from you, my friends, but this too you have heard from me, who is still the most taciturn of all men, and wants to be. Alas, my friends, I still could tell you something. I still could give you something. Why do I not give it? Am I stingy? But when Zarathustra had spoken these words, he was overcome by the force of his pain and the nearness of his parting from his friends. And he wept loudly, and no one knew how to comfort him. At night, however, he went away alone and left his friends. That's shadow work. And you got to do it. And you do have to do it by yourself. this is just telling you he has to go away, he has to leave everything. But another aspect to this is the understanding that you got to release the things that no longer warrant your energy, your resonance. The things that no longer serve you need to go. That's the hardest part, is to detach from the wanting to serve, for the wanting. You have to do what's best for you. At the end of the day, you have to be a service to yourself in order to be a service to others. If you're unhealed and you're not willing to do the work, a lot of people are going to walk away from you eventually because you're not vibrating at their vibrational level. And you're going to find that people are going to slowly shift out of your life. People don't want to hear the truth of themselves. They rather hear the truth of the outside world. They want to hear the gossip. They want to hear the theories. They want to hear what will better their lives in the material sense. But they're not willing to look inward and do the self-work. That's why most people end up hermited in the first place. The world is not ready for you yet. You're healing. You're observing. And one day you're going to emerge out of that cave and you're going to heal people. You're going to be a service to others. But you can't be a service to others without serving yourself first. And it's not selfish. It gives you a broader and bigger picture and bigger perspective. When you have and go through your own life and traverse the trauma and the accidents and the worst things you could possibly have gone through, you come out the other side better learned, better prepared, and better in understanding. When you're wrapped up in the material world, don't take time for yourself, you lose your sense of self. My friend had that problem. She's worried about everything outside of herself but herself. She wasn't happy because she was focusing on everything outside of herself and not herself. And now she's finally getting it. She's finally going and doing the work she knows she put on hold, but now has no other choice but to confront, because things in her paradigm are not fitting anymore. She's seeing it now. I saw it a long time ago. I was trying to help her. She didn't want my help. But now she's accepting it because she sees what I said back then. I seeded her. We need to seed. Drop little sprinkles. Show little hints. But now everybody's going to believe you, and most people are going to call you nuts. But then eventually your what you seeded will be proven. In right or indifferent. Again, it's all based on perception. But I know what I wanted my friend to see, she wasn't ready for. And now she's growing into it. I'm so proud of her. Even if you're the hermit, sit in the shadows and watch other people's awakening and cheerlead them on. I love being a cheerleader. I love cheering people on. I love giving people advice. It's hard because I'm an Aries and I'm a fiery force of energy. And I have a lot of air in my chart and earth. I don't have much water to balance me out. But at the same time, I tell it like it is. I try to do it with compassion. I try to do it with love in my heart because I only want the best for others. I don't want to see anybody fall. But again, I have to respect the fact that if they do fall, that's what they wrote in for themselves to have an experience as a catalyst for their soul growth. And who am I to take that away from them? Even though they're hurting and even though they're going through the thick of it, it's hard to watch, but you're going to be there eventually to help them pick up the pieces if you're nice. I'm having that with my half sister. She reached out to me last night and probably wanted a fix. She is on substance. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not where she lives. And she reached out to me. And I said, you have to start empowering yourself and giving yourself the integrity that you deserve. You do not love yourself. Look what you're doing to yourself. What did you learn? You went to jail. What did you learn? You don't seem like you're learning anything. You have to have the strong will, because I know she's like me. She's a fiery bowl of energy. I'm like, you need to be that girl that I met 6 years ago. But you got to drop the act. You have to drop trying to please others. You have to stop wanting to do things that you know that aren't good for you. Ways of making money. Your lifestyle needs to change. Your mindset needs to change. Your thinking needs to change. Like, no one wants to hire someone they think that someone's going to steal from them. No one's going to trust you if you have that vibration, because that's, you think the world owes you. Nobody owes you anything. And I even said this to my own mother. I'm like, the world owes you nothing. Nothing. The world doesn't owe you. The world doesn't owe me. The universe, when you do good things, you get karma points. You get little stars on a chart. And if you fulfill some stuff, yeah, sometimes a surprise good thing happens to you. Take it with gratitude and thank the universe. It's all in your mind. You got to play mental gymnastics. Do it. I do mental gymnastics all the time. It's not easy. It's exhausting at times. But I'm better for it because I can walk and traverse this life better after these harder experiences, and I learn from them. That last part is going in the stillness and silence of yourself. What do you need right now? Those are two profound, very short, but profound words. Like I said, I read this book and it changed my life. It changed my perception of the perception I was putting out into the world and what I was perceiving coming in. It was skewed. It was messed up. This book helped me stand in my convictions, stand in my empowerment, and understand both sides. His book, Beyond Good and Evil, also. You might not like the man, again, there are pieces of his work that can change the course of your life if you understand what he's saying. All the authors that I read, and I wish I could read more of them. I wish I could read all Carlos Castaneda. Albert Camus is freaking incredible. I mean, if you look at all the books that he's written, it is like going through what we just went through in the last 5 years. The Stranger, The Plague, The Rebel. Do I have it hidden? I do. I have them hidden. But there's a lot of work. I wish I could read, but copyrights and all that fun stuff, you can't. The Hermit's journey isn't supposed to be that lonely. And if you're finding yourself alone, you have people willing to talk or communicate via email. I talk to a lot of people. Yes, my life has become very busy. It's nonstop in this house between cat duties, cleaning, eating, taking care of myself, but also doing the artwork and doing other readings so that I can better help everybody else. I want you to get empowered to be the help you need for yourself, and that you can walk into the world better able to seed, if not give out the whole truth. And that's your truth and perception to hold. Take the leap of faith. We need more people doing that. We're humanity's at the rebirth stage. Death is happening at the same time as a rebirth is happening. Let's stop getting stuck here. Although that's probably a very good position for your back. How long can you stay still? Death. Rebirth. Leap of faith. The Fool. This is happening to society right now. The tower is hitting the tree and the monarchs are having to fly. Go in and contemplate and work on yourself. Because that cave entrance is getting pretty packed with people, still watching the shadows. And we need to get as many people as we can out of that cave. And we need people to see the divinity and the divine within. We need people to see what they are as a soul, because this is just a vehicle. This is just a car traversing the world. You're much more than your body. You are so much more than you are and what you think you might be. And some of you that already realize it, start empowering other people to understanding what they are on a soul level, because that is what's driving your vehicle. Remember, this is just an experience. And let's make the last experience in this vehicle the best one you can have. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Sending each and every one of you love, light, protection, and shielding. Hope to see you on the next one. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I don't get many likes. I get a lot of views, but not that many likes. Or is that talking to the fact that many people still have yet to do their work and don't like to hear that they do? just giving you my observations and my analysis when I'm looking into humanity and what I get from my oracle cards and my spirit guides. It's hard, but I know each and every one of you can do it. I do it, and I will continuously do it. Find what works for you, do your research. And I hope that sometimes when I talk, I hope I light some fire under some butts. We're at a critical moment in history, time, space. I don't want to see too many people left behind, and I know that I have to respect their choice. But I want to have knowing of who my tribe is and who I can walk with into the light. So with that, guys, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Next time it's Manly P. Hall. Bye, guys.